"So you want me to stand in front of your house," he said during our initial phone call, "and pretend to be a bouncer for a red carpet?" "Exactly," I said. "Sunglasses, clipboard, the whole 9 yards. You'll need to be intimidating, but also welcoming. It's a delicate balance." He laughed. "Dude, this is the weirdest gig I've ever been offered. I'm in." I've always believed that a welcome mat is more than just a place to wipe your feet. It's a statement. A small, rectangular expression of personality. A hint of what lies beyond the front door. Over the years, I'd collected a few quirky ones. There was the one that said, "Come back with tacos," a personal favorite. Then there was "Hope you like dogs," which was particularly appropriate given my golden retriever, Max, who greeted every visitor with enthusiastic tail wags. I even had a seasonal rotation. A spooky boo. Matt for Halloween, a festive merry and bright one for Christmas, and a cheerful Hello Spring Matt adorned with flowers. It wasn't much, just a little bit of personality at my front door. A small way to make people smile. Apparently, in Willow Creek Estates, that was a crime punishable by HOA intervention, I thought. As I placed my current favorite, a mat that read, "Wipe your paws," back in front of the door. It was harmless, whimsical, and, in my opinion, perfectly welcoming. I should have known that any deviation from the bland, beige norm would attract the attention of the neighborhood's resident enforcer of conformity. I just didn't realize how quickly, or how dramatically, that attention would manifest. The mat, I would soon learn, was just the beginning of my troubles. The knock on the door was sharp, precise, and utterly lacking in warmth. It was the knock of someone who enjoyed enforcing rules, someone who thrived on order, someone who probably used a ruler to measure the distance between their throw pillows. Margaret Marge Wentworth. The nickname was misleading. There was nothing Marge about her. She was a tightly wound, perfectly coiffed, clipboard-wielding tyrant who ruled Willow Creek Estates with an iron fist and an unwavering belief in the power of beige. She was the self-proclaimed guardian of neighborhood aesthetics, the queen of conformity, and, unfortunately for me, the president of the HOA. She stood on my porch, her expression a mixture of disdain and righteous indignation. Her floral print dress somehow managed to look both fussy and severe. "Mr. Carter," she began, her voice as crisp and starched as her perfectly ironed slacks. "I'm afraid we have a problem with your welcome mat." "My welcome mat?" I replied, feigning confusion. "What seems to be the issue?" "The issue, Mr. Carter," she said, her voice rising slightly, "is that it's unacceptable. It's garish. It's not neutral tone. It simply does not conform to the community aesthetic." She said community aesthetic, as if it were some kind of sacred, inviolable principle. "It has words on it, and pictures. Do you know how distracting that is?" I glanced down at the offending mat, the one that read, "Wipe your paws," with a cartoon image of a dog. It was, perhaps, a bit whimsical, but hardly offensive. "It's a welcome mat, Marge," I said, trying to remain calm. "It's supposed to be welcoming." "It's disruptive," she declared, her eyes narrowing. "It's a violation of the HOA guidelines. You need to remove it, immediately." Marge Wentworth, it turned out, was not a woman to be trifled with. She weaponized the HOA, unleashing its full bureaucratic might upon my unsuspecting welcome mat. The Willow Creek Estates HOA, I quickly discovered, was a masterpiece of petty tyranny. They had rules for everything. Rules about the height of your grass, no more than 2 inches, the color of your house, various shades of beige, and even the type of mailbox you were allowed to have, a standard black metal box, of course. They'd banned garden gnomes, too whimsical, outlawed brightly colored flowers, too distracting, and even once tried to prohibit backyard trampolines, unsightly. They sent out monthly newsletters filled with passive-aggressive reminders about maintaining a harmonious community aesthetic and respecting the neighborhood's shared values, which, as far as I could tell, meant conformity at all costs. My internal reaction was a mixture of annoyance, frustration, and a growing sense of disbelief. Were these people serious? Did they really have nothing better to do than micromanage their neighbors' lives and enforce a beige-toned dictatorship? I thought. I received a formal notice, printed on crisp, official-looking HOA stationery, informing me that my unapproved welcome mat was in violation of the community's exterior decoration guidelines. The letter cited obscure bylaws, vaguely worded regulations, and a whole lot of subjective interpretations of acceptable aesthetics. It demanded the immediate removal of the offending mat, threatening escalating fines and potential legal action if I failed to comply. It also, helpfully, included a list of approved welcome mats. They were all variations on the same theme, plain, beige, and utterly devoid of personality. As I finished reading, I heard the unmistakable sound of snip, snip, snip. Looking out of my window, I saw old Mrs. Gable clipping at her roses. She looked over, winked, and with a sly smile, pointed at Marge's house, before returning to her gardening. That confirmed it. Marge. I stood on my porch, the HOA's threatening letter clutched in my hand, staring at the empty space where my wipe your paws mat had once resided. I could comply, of course. I could purchase a beige HOA-approved mat, surrender to Marge Wentworth's demands, and return my front porch to a state of bland conformity. But something inside me rebelled. This wasn't just about a welcome mat, it was about principle. It was about the right to express my own individuality, to add a touch of personality to my own home without being harassed by a power-hungry, aesthetically obsessed busybody. If Marge wanted boring, if she wanted neutral tone, then I'd give her the opposite. I'd give her something so over the top, so ridiculously extravagant, that it would make her perfectly coordinated throw pillows spontaneously combust, I thought. A new idea, bold and wonderfully subversive, beginning to take shape in my mind. A red carpet, a full-blown Hollywood-style red carpet entrance, complete with velvet ropes, golden stanchions, and maybe even a step and repeat banner. It was decorative, technically. It wasn't a welcome mat, so it couldn't violate the unapproved welcome mat rule. And it was, without a doubt, the most gloriously inappropriate response to Marge Wentworth's demand for conformity that I could possibly imagine. I might even get a bouncer. Marge Wentworth, you want a war on welcome mats? You've got one. Prepare to be red carpeted into oblivion, I declared internally, a surge of defiant energy coursing through me. It was time to escalate. It was time to fight back. It was time to unleash the full force of my petty, red carpet-themed revenge. My mission, should I choose to accept it, and I most definitely did, was to transform my humble front porch into a Hollywood-style red carpet entrance, a spectacle of faux glamour so outrageous, so utterly un-Marge-like, that it would send the HOA president spiraling into a beige-induced coma. First, I needed to research. I needed to understand the anatomy of a red carpet event, the essential elements that created that aura of exclusivity and VIP treatment. I delved into the world of event planning, celebrity galas, and movie premieres, studying photos, watching videos, and taking copious notes. My browser history went from quirky welcome mats to red carpet rental near me, and velvet rope stanchion supplier in record time, I chuckled, as I navigated the surprisingly vast online marketplace for event supplies. I discovered that there was an entire industry dedicated to creating the illusion of exclusivity, to making ordinary people feel like celebrities, or, in my case, to making a suburban homeowner feel like he was hosting the Oscars. I learned about the different types of red carpets: plush, Berber, indoor, outdoor, the various styles of stanchions, gold, silver, chrome, and the importance of proper lighting, essential for capturing those all-important paparazzi shots. I even discovered that you could rent step and repeat banners, those backdrops used for celebrity photo ops, customized with your own logo or message. It was all surprisingly easy and relatively affordable. Creating a Hollywood-style entrance, it turned out, was not as difficult or as expensive as I'd imagined. It was just a matter of knowing where to look and being willing to embrace the absurdity of the situation. With my research complete, it was time to acquire the necessary materials. I placed orders online, choosing the most extravagant options I could find. A plush, full-sized red carpet, long enough to stretch from my front door to the sidewalk. A set of 6 gleaming golden stanchions. Thick, luxurious velvet ropes. Red, of course. And a custom-designed step and repeat banner featuring a ridiculously over-the-top Henderson household logo. I'd even created a fake crest, complete with crossed garden gnomes. And because no red carpet event is complete without a little bit of auditory ambiance, I also ordered a motion-activated speaker system, preloaded with the sound of cheering crowds and camera shutters. The deliveries started arriving a few days later, each one more outrageous than the last. Giant rolls of red carpet, boxes of gleaming stanchions, and a surprisingly heavy step and repeat banner, all delivered to my doorstep by a series of increasingly bewildered delivery drivers. "You having a party or something?" one of them asked, as he unloaded a box containing the velvet ropes. "Something like that," I replied with a grin. The neighbors, of course, were watching. They'd gather on their lawns, whispering to each other, pointing and staring. Mrs. Higgins, armed with her trusty binoculars, maintained her usual post at the window, no doubt documenting every detail for her next report to the HOA. Even Marge Wentworth, I noticed, seemed to be taking an unusual interest in my activities, her face a mask of suspicion and growing alarm. She'd stop by, pretending to be interested in my landscaping, but her eyes would dart around, searching for any sign of violation, any evidence of my continued defiance. She didn't find any, because I had a red carpet to lay down and no time for her. To truly sell the illusion of a VIP event, I needed more than just the red carpet and the ropes. I needed a bouncer. I contacted a local college, reaching out to their theater department. I explained my situation, carefully omitting the HOA revenge aspect, and asked if they had any students who might be interested in a short-term paid acting gig. I received a flood of responses, but one stood out. A young man named Kevin, not another Kevin, a drama major with a flair for the dramatic and a surprisingly convincing tough guy persona. "So, you want me to stand in front of your house," he said during our initial phone call, "and pretend to be a bouncer for a red carpet?" "Exactly," I said. "Sunglasses, clipboard, the whole 9 yards. You'll need to be intimidating, but also welcoming. It's a delicate balance." He laughed. "Dude, this is the weirdest gig I've ever been offered. I'm in." With Kevin on board, I completed the setup. I positioned a camera tripod near the step and repeat banner, creating the illusion of a celebrity photo op. I printed out a few VIP guest list signs featuring a random assortment of names, including, just for fun, Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie, and the Queen of England. I even, on a whim, added a small velvet-covered stool for Max, my golden retriever, positioning him near the entrance as a sort of furry, four-legged greeter. I gave Kevin a quick briefing, mostly about Marge. The stage was set. The red carpet was rolled out. The bouncer was in position. and the neighborhood was about to witness the most ridiculous, most over-the-top, most HOA-defying front yard transformation in the history of Sunridge Estates. The final result was breathtaking. It was absurd. It was glorious. It was the ultimate act of petty revenge. The red carpet, a vibrant crimson ribbon stretched from my front door all the way to the sidewalk, a bold declaration of VIP status. The golden stanchions, gleaming in the afternoon sun, stood like sentinels, guarding the entrance to my exclusive residence. The thick velvet ropes created a sense of separation, a barrier between the mundane world of suburbia and the glamorous realm of my front porch. The Step and Repeat banner, with its ridiculously over-the-top Henderson household logo and fake crest, added a touch of Hollywood-style branding. And Kevin, my bouncer, stood guard, his sunglasses reflecting the sunlight, his clipboard clutched in his hand, his expression a perfect blend of intimidation and boredom. Even Max, my golden retriever, seemed to understand his role, sitting patiently on his velvet stool, greeting visitors with a wagging tail and a hopeful look that seemed to say, "Do you have any treats?" It was ridiculous. It was over the top. It was perfect. And it was all completely 100% HOA loophole compliant, as far as I could tell, I thought, surveying my creation with a mixture of pride and amusement. It was a masterpiece of suburban absurdity, a testament to the power of creativity, and a giant middle finger to Marge Wentworth and her obsession with neutral tone welcome mats. I'd timed the completion of the project to coincide with Marge's daily afternoon walk, ensuring that she'd be among the first to witness my glorious transformation. I watched from my window, a grin plastered across my face, waiting for her reaction. The stage was set, the players were in position, and the curtain was about to rise on the next act of my HOA revenge drama. The moment Marge Wentworth laid eyes on my red carpet entrance was a moment I'll cherish forever. It was a scene straight out of a comedy, a masterclass in Karen-esque meltdown, a performance that deserved an Oscar, or, at the very least, a Golden Globe for Best Dramatic Reaction to a Suburban Homeowner's Petty Revenge. She'd been taking her usual afternoon power walk, her clipboard clutched tightly in her hand, her eyes scanning the neighborhood for any sign of violation, any hint of nonconformity. And then she saw it. My house. Or rather, my red carpet. She stopped dead in her tracks, her perfectly coordinated pastel tracksuit suddenly seeming wildly inappropriate for the occasion. Her jaw dropped, her eyes widened, and her face went through a series of colors that I didn't even know were possible. She looked like she'd just stumbled upon a crime scene, or perhaps a particularly offensive display of garden gnomes. Then the screaming started. This is insanity!" she shrieked, her voice reaching a pitch that could shatter glass and probably set off car alarms. She stormed towards my house, her fists clenched, her clipboard waving wildly in the air. "You've turned your front yard into a Hollywood premiere. It's preposterous." I emerged from behind the Step and Repeat banner, a picture of calm, unruffled composure. "Good afternoon, Marge," I said, my voice dripping with feigned innocence. "I see you've noticed my exterior modifications. What do you think? I was going for a glamorous VIP vibe." "It's a red carpet," she roared, her face now a shade of purple that I'd previously only seen on overripe eggplants. "With velvet ropes and a bouncer." She pointed a trembling finger at Kevin, who was standing by the entrance, his sunglasses reflecting the sunlight, his expression a perfect blend of intimidation and amusement. "He's just here for crowd control, Marge," I explained gently. "You know how popular my house is. Safety first and all that. Besides," I added with a wink, "it's a seasonal decorative feature, perfectly within the HOA guidelines. Kevin, bless his heart, played his part perfectly. He stepped forward, blocking Marge's path. "Sorry, ma'am," he said, his voice a deep baritone. "You're not on the list." Marge sputtered, "The list! I live here!" Kevin remained impassive. "Gonna need to see some ID, ma'am," he said, extending a hand. "And I'll need to check your bag." Watching Marge's face contort with rage and disbelief was more satisfying than any welcome mat could ever be, I thought, struggling to suppress a laugh. She looked like a cartoon villain whose evil plan had just been foiled by a red carpet and a college student in sunglasses. It was a moment of pure, unadulterated joy, a victory for individuality, a crushing defeat for the forces of beige conformity. And the best part? It was all perfectly legal. The reign of Marge Wentworth, the terror of welcome mats, the scourge of brightly colored doors, came to an abrupt and ignominious end. After her spectacularly unsuccessful attempt to have my red carpet entrance declared a violation of HOA rules, a meeting that ended with her being booed off the stage, literally, she did the only thing a defeated suburban tyrant could do. She resigned. Her resignation letter was a masterpiece of passive-aggressive self-pity, blaming everyone but herself for her downfall. She claimed she was the victim of a coordinated campaign of harassment, a neighborhood-wide conspiracy to undermine her authority, and a general decline in standards of decency and good taste. Nobody bought it. The residents of Willow Creek Estates, freed from her iron grip, celebrated her departure with a spontaneous block party, complete with a red carpet, naturally, a worst dressed in beige contest, which Mr. Henderson won, hands down, and a ceremonial burning of an effigy of Marge's clipboard. It was a glorious, cathartic event, a collective sigh of relief, and a testament to the power of community and petty revenge. My red carpet entrance, once a temporary act of defiance, became a permanent fixture, a beloved neighborhood tradition, and a symbol of Willow Creek Estate's newfound freedom from HOA tyranny. The initial shock and amusement gave way to genuine appreciation. People loved the red carpet. They loved the velvet ropes, the step and repeat banner, and even Kevin, the bouncer, who, it turned out, was a surprisingly good actor and a natural at crowd control. We started holding an annual Best Dressed contest, a neighborhood-wide celebration of extravagance and individuality. Residents would don their most glamorous outfits, strut their stuff on the red carpet, and pose for photos in front of the Henderson household banner. It was a hilarious, heartwarming, and utterly ridiculous event, a perfect embodiment of the new spirit of Willow Creek Estates. The red carpet became a part of the neighborhood's identity, a quirky landmark, a conversation starter, and a constant reminder of the day we took on the HOA and won. It was a victory for creativity, a triumph over conformity, and a testament to the power of a well-placed velvet rope. The unexpected fame of the red carpet entrance brought with it another, even more surprising development: corporate sponsorship. Local businesses, seeing the marketing potential, started contacting me, offering to sponsor events, provide prizes for the Best Dressed contest, and even, in one case, to install a permanent, professionally maintained red carpet, which I politely declined, preferring the slightly worn, slightly ridiculous charm of my original. The local bakery created a red carpet cupcake, decorated with edible glitter and a miniature velvet rope. A nearby clothing store offered discounts to anyone who mentioned the Henderson household red carpet. Even the local car dealership got in on the action, offering a free car wash to anyone who posed for a photo in front of my house. It was all a bit surreal, but I embraced it. The sponsorships helped to fund the neighborhood events, to keep the red carpet in good condition, And to generally enhance the overall absurdity of the situation, I even, on a whim, created a red carpet fund, a community chest dedicated to supporting local arts and promoting creative expression within Willow Creek Estates. Scene 4. HOA reformed. 150 words. With Marge gone, the HOA was utterly reformed. No longer a tool to punish any spark of joy, it instead became a background function. All the old rules were thrown out and replaced with a single one. Don't be a Marge. I was even offered presidency, but declined. I preferred to act as a shadowy advisor, ready to strike should another Marge appear. And so I remained, the unlikely king of my red-carpeted kingdom, the accidental champion of suburban extravagance. My house, once just another beige box in a sea of conformity, was now a landmark, a symbol of victory, a testament to the power of petty revenge. It was a warm summer evening. I was standing on my porch, adjusting my imaginary Oscar, a small plastic trophy I'd purchased online, just for fun, surveying the scene before me. The red carpet glowed under the soft light of the street lamps. The velvet ropes shimmered, and the Henderson household banner fluttered gently in the breeze. A new neighbor, a young couple who'd just moved in down the street, walked by. "Excuse me," the woman said. "We're new to the neighborhood. We were just wondering, what's the deal with the red carpet and the bouncer?" I smiled. "It's a long story," I said, "but the short version is we had a bit of a disagreement with the HOA about a welcome mat." They laughed, intrigued. "Well," the man said, "it's certainly unique." "It is," I agreed. "It is." Who knew that a welcome mat and a burning desire for revenge could lead to all this? I guess sometimes you just gotta roll out the red carpet to find your peace, I thought. A feeling of quiet satisfaction washing over me. It had been a ridiculous, over-the-top, and utterly unforgettable journey. I raised my imaginary Oscar in a silent toast. To the red carpet of Willow Creek Estates, may it forever stand as a monument to the triumph of extravagance over conformity, and a warning to all future HOA tyrants.